Ladies and gentlemen, say hello to the Analogue Interactive Consoleized MVS Slim. Now, this particular model you're seeing in front of you is made of mahogany wood. It is part of the Black Label set, which I'll explain in a little bit. But you can purchase these from Analogue Interactive's website, which I'll put the link in the description below, for it's $649 for just the console and $199 for the individual arcade sticks. When you get the base model, when you just purchase the console, you get an AC adapter, which is universal, and you happen to get one of these, which is a composite, that's these things right here, composite video, which is that one, and stereo audio, and it also has S-video. Now what's nice about this platform is if I spin it around, you'll see that there's one port. Now yes, this is proprietary, okay, that's the audio video port, but what's great about it is you don't have millions of anything here, any ports here. You just have one audio video port, one AC adapter, and the on-off power switch, and that's pretty much it. Now, if you are going to purchase one of these, I highly recommend you skip out on those crappy cables, pick up either the component cables, or the best is the RGB SCART. Now, if you're in North America and you're watching this particular video, we were never able to use RGB SCART because, well, we don't have the televisions. Now, you can import a TV that supports it, or you can use converters, which will take that RGB SCART and basically output it to whatever you want. In the case of these particular reviews that I'm going to be doing, I'm going to take that RGB, that pure RGB SCART, I'm going to just switch it on over to HDMI, and I'll be able to capture direct footage from this bad boy. So let's take a closer look. You've got two of these lovely inputs for the joysticks. Now keep in mind, these are the exact same as the AES, which is the home version of the Neo Geo. Now, since this is a consoleized MVS, it plays these. These don't look sexy at all. These are MVS cartridges, and no, they are not the same as the AES cartridges. And the point was for this was so that, in the arcade cabinet, the person would simply plunk that down, and that would be the end of it. So it wasn't meant to look all nice and sexy. That's why it doesn't have the nice labels up here or whatnot. So it's very important that if you are purchasing this, that you make sure you purchase the MVS or the arcade cartridges for the Neo Geo. Now what's nice about these is that they are significantly cheaper than their home console versions. Well, at least most of them. The early MVS games are a little rarer than the early AES games. I'm talking about you, Magician Lord, and games like that. So you're typically going to spend a little more money on those games than you would, than you would for any other games on the MVS. So, in other words, basically, games that were released from, say, like 1991 and up are going to be far cheaper on this format than they would be on the home console format. So anyways, that's just a general overview. Now, let's take a look at this closer, because this is my full-on review of this lovely platform. So, like I said, if you already have pre-existing joysticks from the home console version, or even from the Neo Geo CD, they will work with these ports. These are not proprietary. They work perfectly. The craftsmanship on this is incredible. It has, I think it's 5 or 6 coats of lacquer on it. It smells awesome. As people were asking me about the smell, well, it smells great. I'm just going to do a little quick overview. As you can see here, ooh, I already mentioned the back. What's nice is that the this lovely AC adapter is completely universal, and they give you, and the AC adapter is right here. This actually flops off, and you can put whatever you want here to plug it into the wall from Europe, Canada, US, Asia, whatever. So it works perfectly. And then you've got your one audio video port. There's the side. You can't see, well, maybe you can see it. See that little dot? That lets you know it's just an LED. It lets you know when the system's turned on or off. Now, the single most important thing is, let's turn the system around, pop this bad boy open, and see what it says right there, SNK. That is the actual motherboard from the single arcade cabinet, the one with the single slot. It's extremely reliable, and this thing is a beast. Now, this particular model is from the Black Label set. You see? Analogue Interactive Black Label. What does that mean? Well, the standard version comes in two different types of wood, walnut and ash wood. This particular one is mahogany, and the Black Label set includes not only the console itself, but you get 2 joysticks and a bunch of cables, and I forget what else it is. I think that's the main thing. It's the console, the 2 joysticks, and then your regular cables. You have to pay extra, of course, for the extra cables, which are 29 bucks a pop. You also get, these come with, these are just your typical, what would you call them? Arcade inputs, whatever, wires. But what's nice with these is that you can extend them. If I can do this one-handed, you see, they join into one another. So if you're going to purchase this, I highly recommend you do this. You pick up 2 so that you can get like 6 feet or 10 feet or whatever of cabling, because nowadays with our big screen TVs, it's a lot easier to have a lot of cable. So that's my review basically for this platform as a whole. In terms of strictly hardware, the design is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, this thing is hands down the nicest system I currently own. It's absolutely beautiful. It's a lot of money. I mean, the Black Label set is $1,299 US. That's more money than the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, but you're getting a real arcade. That's the important thing to remember here. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you, if I can find where I put it, is this. This is the joystick. It's the same wood. The grain might look a little different just because it's from a different cut, but it is still mahogany wood. And we've got the traditional 4-button Neo Geo layout. Got the lovely joystick with the square resistor gate inside. There's your front, the side, and the back. You got your start select, and again the connector here is the same. So you could actually use this if you just wanted to purchase this. If you had an AES, you could go ahead and purchase this and use this for your AES or your home console version of Neo Geo. And of course on the back still says the Black Label. So I think this is absolutely gorgeous. I think the craftsmanship or workmanship that went into this is second to none. And if you are a hardcore Neo Geo fan, this is like a dream come true. I know a lot of people have been saying about the Omega consoleized MVS, which is basically a plastic consoleized MVS, but the same core idea. But this really is the Rolls Royce. This is the best of the best. I mean, this is incredible. Look at this thing. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to put the camera down, and we're going to actually fire this up so I can show you the software inside. And then we'll just wrap up the video with like overall impressions of the actual hardware of the console itself. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so we're going to boot up the MVS. You'll notice that the source is SCART RGB, and the output is in 1080p. I've gone in and made the video 1440 by 1080. Now, when you first boot up the system, if you press A, B, and C, you can get into this, which is the Universal BIOS 3.1, which is what comes standard in all of the CMVSs that Analogue Interactive makes. So we're going to jump into region setup. The cart I have is a European arcade version, obviously, because it's an MVS cart. But as you can see, you can switch it to Japan, USA, or Europe. Now, for this particular game, there's not too much of a difference, but in some games, it's incredible. You'll get blood, you'll get all kinds of weird stuff, sometimes even additional backgrounds, and just, it's really, really unique. So anyways, we're going to boot this up as Japan arcade mode, but I just wanted to check a few other things. So you see you have your general UniBIOS settings, but I always reset this and put it to what it is, like what it's supposed to be, rather. So we're just going to go ahead and boot the system up and show you the introduction. Alright, by pressing the start and select button simultaneously, you can get into this. You can soft reboot the system, patch memory, or this one, which is what everybody loves, which is basically, think of it like a Game Shark. You can pick and choose different settings, like for example, infinite power or life or whatever. Now, just look how crisp this is. It's pretty damn amazing. Like, look at this. This is a very old game. This is from the early 90s, if I'm not mistaken, maybe the mid 90s. But anyways, what we've decided to do here is I've gone in and I've reset it, did the soft reset, pressed ABC again, and now what we're going to do is I'm going to boot it in USA arcade mode and show you guys the difference there. So as you can see, the differences, at least in this particular game, are kind of minor. It just basically, the text is in English and that's it. Now, some of the options that you can also switch are things like the dip switch settings for the arcade. Now that's important because some games actually had a blood on and off dip switch. So if you look it up, it's very possible to play a game like Metal Slug with English text, but with blood. So it really, everything depends on the game itself. So when you buy a console like this, you're sort of getting like the best of both worlds, because not only can you play any version of the game itself, once in a while you'll get like minor little glitches, like the game will look for, say, a color palette or an asset that just isn't on the game like itself. So for example, if I switch it to say AES mode, not every game, but once in a while you'll stumble onto something like this, where you'll switch it to AES mode if you have an MVS cart, and it just won't be able to display, say, a certain character properly or whatnot. But that's really rare that something like that happens. So anyways, that is basically the Analogue Interactive consoleized MVS Slim. The particular model I got also had a built-in memory card feature, which is fantastic because it allows you to save your high scores and things like that. So that's it. Would I recommend this? Hell yes, I would recommend this to the hardcore Neo Geo fan. Just take a look at the footage you're seeing here, how crisp and vivid the colors are, and this isn't even doing justice. Keep in mind that YouTube is compressing this, and I've got a upscaler. If you saw this on the television, it's beautiful. So bottom line, this is well worth the asking price. It is a phenomenal system.